Probably. I mean, big situation. Ball's probably a little wet. Skipped off the grass on him a little bit. We still had time. I mean, Ruben still had time, and just the ball just tailed off on the glove or the arm side, and so we didn't make it.
Even with the loss, another great outing for Syndergaard. When you look at how far he's come, is the development of that curveball maybe the biggest weapon here down the stretch that has taken him to that next level?
Well, I think the command of it. I mean, obviously he hung one to Robinson, but other than that, he keeps the ball down. His changeups, really, I think, one of the big factors. Steve, this guy throws so hard, and his changeups 88, 89 miles an hour, and it just, they got to gear up for the fastball. He's just the last couple outings he's used his off-speed stuff early in the game, and he's made it pretty easy for himself. I'm very impressed again today. Pitched a great game.
Who's next? Mr. Tony.
Just how would you evaluate Syndergaard's season as a whole, and just how much how much more trust or however you want to put it you have in him now than maybe you did earlier in the year?
Yeah, there's no question, Tony. He came up here obviously with the billing of this big power arm, which he's got, which we saw, but he's a pitcher. I mean, this guy throws a lot more strikes than you would think a young man with that kind of arm and that size. For years and years, they always talked about these big, tall guys having a tough time, maintaining their command because there's so many moving parts that, it's surprising how much he pounds the strike zone. And that's where I was the most impressed as he went through the season. Just, he throws strikes, and he makes you swing the bat. And that's why I think he's going to be a good pitcher. I mean, stuff speaks for itself.
Terry, have you been surprised at all by his temperament at that young of an age, how he's carried himself here and continued to develop throughout the course of the season?
Well, he's grown up fast and in this market, and I've just been impressed with him at everything he does. He works hard at it. He listens. He tries things. He picked up the two-seamer and one bullpen. This guy wants to be good, and he's going to be good.
Kevin?
Terry, how do you feel about your offense right now?
Well, we're not swinging very good. We haven't swung very good in 4 games. But, especially in Philly where, that's a pretty good hitting park. So that's one of the things we're looking at, certainly, that we've talked about this morning, as a staff. We got to get our offense going a little bit.
And how do you do that? Stupid question. But
well, not stupid, Kev. No, there's no stupid questions. But there's no answer. If anybody had them, they'd be millionaires going from team to team, getting your teams out of slumps. But, that's why we're trying to get guys at bats and keep them as sharp as we can. But, as we know, the only way to get better is to work at it and to go out there and focus on putting a good at bat on. And we have not done that. So we've certainly got to get it going. We've got 2 more games to get the offense back where it needs to be. But we've seen this before, where we go through a stretch where we don't swing, and the next thing you know, we come out bombing. So I don't have an answer for you.
Terry, what have you seen from Neese in these couple appearances he's had? Does he look more comfortable? Do you have a better idea for how you might employ him going forward?
Well, the one thing about John Neese is perpetual strike thrower. And when you come out of the bullpen, hitters are swinging early. That's just what you tell guys when you see a relief pitcher. You know what? Because one thing about starting pitchers, they kind of work the zone a little bit more. Relievers, they come out, they want to get strike one, and that's where he's been hit because strike one's in the middle, is on the plate someplace. So it's a process, and that's why we're trying to get him as much work as we can to get him to understand, look, you can be yourself. You don't have to. It doesn't have to come in, and it's one thing when you're, especially with the bullpens today, where all these guys are so overpowering. John's not like that, so he's just got to make some pitches.
So does he need to change? Are you suggesting the way he pitches, does he need to change anything in this?
Well, one thing about lefties, left on left, they're hunting a heater, they're hunting a fastball, and they're hunting it early. So I just think, we talked about it the other day. Look, don't be afraid to use something else, and don't be afraid to miss with it, because you can throw strikes. If you fall behind, you fall behind, but you can still, he's a good enough pitcher, he can throw strikes. So it's just, again, it's a work in progress, and we don't have a lot of time, but we're trying to get him in there.
Yeah. Terry, if you're perceiving any sort of mental letdown in a championship team like this, do you let them manage themselves and sort of self-correct, or do you get involved in this?
Well, I've had given them 2 talks about the importance of these games. I mean, number one, the biggest important is to find the edge again that we had a week ago. That's the biggest thing. Win or lose is not the issue right now. We're going to party on here. We're playing Friday. I don't care where it's at, but we got to get the edge back. We got to get the focus back. We got to get the concentration back. Those are the things that, when you clinch early, sometimes you can lose. And those are the things we've got to regain. But the one thing I've seen this team do all year long is they'll lose it, and right out of the clear blue, they snap out of it. So hopefully we'll do that tonight.
Just with the nightcap tonight, obviously Matt's going. Just is there a certain number of innings, pitches that you just have in mind with him? And
Well, I have in mind something, yeah.
can you reveal what that is?
Not really. Because, again, if it changes, it's a headline, and I don't want any headlines right now.
Would the idea be, though, an abbreviated start if all goes well?
I wouldn't count on that. So, again, Matt will determine how he's doing, where he's going. When he came in 2 weeks ago, said he wanted he wanted his last 2 starts to be legitimate so we can get ready for the postseason. So, abbreviated start, if he throws 80 pitches in 5 innings, he's coming out. If he's sailing along, he'll stay in. So,
Last one, Mike.
Terry, have you seen enough from Neese as a reliever to be comfortable putting him on the postseason roster, or is it still an evaluation?
well, I'm a little I'm comfortable because of the fact that I know he's not going to beat himself. What we got to do is get him to understand relieving is just different than starting, and and again to approach a little bit different early in the count.